6:48, your top stories here in our Smart Start for Tuesday. Breaking updates overnight, a 23-year-old man is in serious condition after he was shot in the city.
RPD tells us officers found this victim near Sylvan and Dix Streets just after midnight. He was transported to the hospital and is expected to live. Details currently limited, and there are no suspects at this time.
We know the heat we're facing can cause some pretty serious health problems, and with these projected high temps over the next couple of days, medical professionals around town are taking this time to remind everyone how to prevent any complications. News 8 heard from one expert who says everyone should see themselves at risk of heat exhaustion or stroke, even if you're a healthy young adult. Young children below 5, adults 65 and up, they're also at a greater risk of experiencing either condition. Although heat stroke is more severe, that exhaustion can also lead to a stroke, and these are the symptoms to be mindful of.
They may get some mild headache. They may get a little bit dizzy or lightheaded. They might feel a little pale or look a little pale, feel a little clammy, sweaty. They might feel a little bit weak, some muscle cramps.
Symptoms of a heat stroke will show more signs of neurological dysfunction, such as disorientation, confusion, even losing consciousness.
And with these high temperatures, folks over at RG&E tell us they have postponed any planned work that might stress out the system, as well as any expedited restoration of electrical infrastructure that had been out of service. The company further says that it has scheduled additional staffing in order to respond to any unforeseen problems this week. We just heard this morning, about 400 folks in Henrietta are without power. Due to the heat, there are a handful of actions you can take to alleviate the amount of energy use in your home. Close those blinds, keep the cool air inside, and set your temperature to a point where you feel comfortable within reason. The slightly higher, the better.
Final days of the school year with this going on, and districts are making changes to the schedule, including letting the youngest students go home earlier. In Rochester, pre-K through 8th, that is early dismissal times due to the heat for the rest of the week. In light of that, the mayor has also broadened the city's cool sweep operation. That means your art centers, libraries, spray parks, they've all got different longer hours each day through Friday for you to cool off. District leaders note students will be given lunch before they're sent home with early dismissal. High school students, they're still in the classroom. They have regents to take care of, and school buildings and libraries will not be open tomorrow, as well as many public buildings in observance of Juneteenth.
We have more updates and information for you on all our heat coverage. It's available for you to check at rochesterfirst.com.
We have learned the name of the man killed in a crash on Fairport Road Sunday morning in Pittsford. The driver died on scene, identified as 45-year-old Patrick McCarthy from Gates. Deputies tell us he was going west in his car when he crossed over the eastbound lanes, ran through the ramp on 490, and then hit an embankment. No word yet on what happened just prior to cause that accident.
The bicyclist who was killed over the weekend in a crash in Livingston County has now been positively identified as 79-year-old William Eve. This accident happened Saturday morning at East Lake and Big Tree Roads in Livonia. Deputies say Eve had collided with a car going through that intersection, and he was flown to the hospital where he later passed away. No charges here have been filed.
A 24-year-old man has learned he will spend 25 years in prison for his role in a deadly shooting 3 years ago in Rochester. That sentencing for a manslaughter plea for Troy Jones. The victim that day, 22-year-old Brandon McCleary, was standing on a street corner when a group of suspects started firing at him. Prosecutors say Jones chased the victim down, killing him in broad daylight.
Also happening today, a final goodbye to World War II veteran and former RCSD teacher Bob Al Perschetti. His funeral mass will be at the St. Jerome's Church today at 10 a.m. Calling hours were yesterday at the Harlaw Funeral Home in East Rochester. Perschetti died at the age of 102 while on a trip to Normandy, celebrating the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
Today, loved ones of Ryan Corbett will once again join Congresswoman Claudia Tenney and Victor to talk about their work to finally get him home. The man from Dansville has been held captive by the Taliban in Afghanistan for nearly 2 years. Lawmakers recently passed a resolution through the House of Representatives. It was a unanimous vote, and that measure urges high-ranking officials, including the president, to keep pressing the Taliban to release Americans like Corbett being held unjustly. Tenney and the Corbett family are going to speak at 3:30.
Well, after this last school budget didn't pass in the Rush-Henrietta School District, they're gearing up for another vote today. That first proposal failing by 15 votes, in fact, the only one that did not pass in our region. As members of the school board tell us, they were quite surprised at this result. So over the last month, they have revised their proposal with the feedback they got from their voters. For one, the new budget total is $170.2 million instead of $171.6 million. There were rumors that the superintendent would be getting an 80% increase in salary. We were told that was not true. It's actually a 2.7% increase. The board further realized there was a misinformation and overall uncertainty about this new administration and positions that were proposed to be introduced. Those positions will now not be added in the revised budget. A neighbor within the district attended the initial meeting and shared with News 8 they were also confused why the original budget didn't pass.
The first time ever since we've been out here to 22 years that a budget has not passed. So just want to look and see why it was not passed. I know my son had a great experience. As a parent, I had a great experience, and with all the building and everything going on, I'm not understanding why the budget was not passed. After reviewing it and for the little information, from my understanding, it doesn't look like it's anything that's extenuating. That's really not heavy on the residents of Henrietta.
Yeah, the district says that if this new proposal fails again, it'll have to adopt a contingency budget, which would lead to cutting almost $4 million in spending compared to that original plan.
Your final weather coming up here momentarily. First, our final check of sunrise traffic here at 6:55. The view from the west side coming in from the Gates-Chili area. No issues there that will be slowing you down. Same too with 590 southbound, but just west of that expressway in Rochester, crash at Tracy Street and Meigs. Also that other one closer to 590 at Merchants Road and North Winton Road. We're all going to be hot once again today. Might not get those storms in the Finger Lakes like we saw yesterday pop up real quick.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see 20 damage reports.
From something, yeah.
Like we had yesterday. 71 Canisius, Penn Yan, you're at 69, 71 Livonia, a very warm start. 74 at the airport. We'll cruise right along back into the lower 90s. You had that heat index, feels like over 100 at times this afternoon. We've got the heat advisory in effect. 8-day forecast here. We're going to do it again a couple more days. Tomorrow, for Juneteenth. Then we got Thursday. That's the start of summer. Back in the 90s. And really, the heat doesn't escape us until, I'd say, the end of the weekend. So we still have highs in the mid to upper 80s and low 90s.
It's about to say that 90 Sunday. Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mother Nature, she wants to keep it around. These patterns are tough to shake.
Yeah.
So that's going to be into the weekend.
All right, stay inside then.
Yes.
Plenty of excuses.
Or get the pools. I don't like to tell people to stay inside. There's a lot of people that enjoy the heat.
Oh,
George, our web guy, he loves this.
I don't understand it.
Speak for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy your day, everybody.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.